thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. That's right. It is Wednesday, June 19th, and today is World Sauntering Day, National Watch Day for all those blingers out there, National FreeSBD Day, and, oh, yes, you guys, that's right. It is also National Garfield the Cat Day. Shout out to Garfield the Cat Day. He hates Mondays. And, of course, that's right, it is a national holiday today. It is JuneTeenth.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, I would like to give everybody an introduction to JuneTeenth. It is very, very, very understandable that significance or the legacy of JuneTeenth and what it means. A lot of people who look like me as well, because it was kind of a regionally celebrated holiday amongst the Black community. It's not really recognized until President Joe Biden made it federal law in 2021. So I took a little.
That is one good thing.
National Historic. A little background. So on Freedom's Eve, the eve of January 1st, 1863, first watch night services took place, and on that night enslaved churches and private homes across the country, awaiting news that emancipation all enslaved people in Confederate states were declared legally free. Union soldiers, many of whom were Black, marched into plantations across the cities and in the South, reading small copies of the Emancipation Proclamation, spreading the news of freedom in the Confederate States. Only through the 13th Amendment did emancipation end slavery throughout the United States, but not everybody in the Confederate territory would immediately be free. Even though the Emancipation Proclamation was made effective in 1863, it could not be implemented in places still under Confederate control, and as a result, in the westernmost Confederate state of Texas, enslaved people would not be free until much later. Freedom finally came on June 19th, 1865, when some 2,000 Union troops arrived in Galveston Bay, Texas. The Army announced that the more than 250,000 enslaved Black people in the state were free by executive decree. This day became known as JuneTeenth by the newly freed people in Texas. Big shout out to everybody celebrating today. Big shout out to the Biden administration, all of their warts for actually putting it into federal law. And I have to give props to it first being raised to olive branch to the right, to my two colleagues on stage today, because it was put up proposal by the Trump administration, though it wasn't enacted into law.
That's right.
Biden got into office.
That's right. It was Trump's idea.
Look at that, man. It's about unity.
Mm-hmm.
Giving y'all a little olive branch. That's all I'm gonna give y'all today.
I'll take the olive branch all day. all day. But thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above on your screen to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. But kicking it off today, that's right, we have the dope dad himself, who, that's right, is not getting the day off because it's Juneteenth. He's coming here to come and share the day with you guys. That's right. It is the dope dad himself who is done changing diapers, Rico Lamitte.
Thank you, Jason. I am thankful for my freedom and the ability to talk my shit on stage today.
That's right.
As I'm wearing all black in honor of Juneteenth. All right, so speaking of freedom, let's talk about adult use cannabis, which has been legal on a state level in some states now for over a decade. And even though it has a threat of federal enforcement raids on state compliant operators, has never left. Even after the MMJ issuance by former President Barack Obama updated federal enforcement guidelines to avoid wasting federal resources focused on cannabis businesses. A quick survey of dispensary owners today operating during that period would make you wonder if the feds even got that memo. Here in Los Angeles, countless dispensary owners have stories about getting raided while their less than legal peers, sometimes operating on the same damn block, were left alone. Though things have seemed to get better more recently, the problem has persisted. And the most high-profile occurrences of the DEA and other federal agencies seeming to overstep their boundaries is what we've been witnessing occur over the past several months in the expanding states, the emerging market states, and most notably, New Mexico. But at least one member of Congress is aiming to put it all to an end. According to Marijuana Moment's Kyle Yeager, Representative Gabe Vasquez, a New Mexico Democrat, submitted an amendment for consideration as part of 2025 fiscal year appropriations legislation, proposing that U.S. Border Patrol agents would be prevented from using its funds to seize marijuana from state-licensed businesses. A move Yeager says appears to be responsive to recent reporting about Customs and Border agents seizing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of cannabis from state legal businesses in New Mexico over the recent months. The amendment, which would need to be made in order for floor consideration by the House, made available by this act, may be used to seize cannabis or products containing cannabis that are processed, sold, or transferred by a cannabis distributor, licensed by a state or a business in a state where cannabis is in use. For the article, this is the latest in a series of drug policy-related amendments to be filed from lawmakers across the aisle that they've sought to attach to spending bills. A Democrat from California has also filed an amendment to the DHS measure, as well as to separate appropriation legislation covering state foreign operations and related programs, and the Department of Defense that would prevent relative agencies from testing job applicants for cannabis. Speedily attempted to enact that reform as part of numerous legislative packages. This is the first time that the language of the Vasquez Amendment has been introduced. Rules Committee is expected to meet next week to decide which amendments of the bills can receive floor votes. The controversy over CBP seizures of marijuana from state licensed businesses has prompted responses from multiple levels of government. In April, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham could be heard saying on a leaked recording that she was offended when the secretary of the DHS reacted to her concern about the recent surge in CBP seizures of marijuana from legal operators in her state by saying, "Who cares? They make a lot of money." The governor also said in the call that CBP officials are trying to justify the interdictions of marijuana from state legal businesses at interior checkpoints, primarily around the law. Says it's right where the Juarez border is in it's miles away from the Juarez border, and there's a lot of gang activity and cartel activity over there. However, as industry stakeholders have pointed out, the spike in cannabis seizures seems to be largely isolated to New Mexico, even though other states like Arizona and California also have legal cannabis operators near the Mexican border. New Mexico marijuana business report that more than a dozen CBP seizures, particularly at interior checkpoints around the Las Cruces area, are a relatively new phenomenon. Since adult use marijuana sales launched in the state in 2022, operators say they've generally been able to transport their products to testing facilities and retailers without incident. Starting earlier this year, however, the agency has evidently taken a more proactive approach to enforce federal prohibition, taking hundreds of pounds of cannabis at the checkpoints inside the state. CBP is able to carry out its activities within 100 miles of the U.S. border. Talk about overreach. And this is what they had to say. Although medical and recreational marijuana may be legal in some U.S. states and Canada, the sale, possession, production, and distribution of marijuana or the facilitation of the aforementioned remain illegal under U.S. federal law, given the classification of marijuana as a Schedule I controlled substance. So CBP wants to remind the public that while traveling through the U.S., in New Mexico, being in possession of marijuana is illegal under federal law. The Biden-Harris administration is not doing enough to protect states who are not waiting for the federal government to catch up. Representative Earl Blumenauer, founding co-chair of the Congressional Cannabis Caucus, told Marijuana in April, these seizures underscore the confusion and harm caused by the growing gap between federal government and state-level operations. Absent descheduling, President Biden urgently needs to issue guidance to prevent this type of infringement from happening again. All right, so you can read the rest of the article at high9news.com. There's a lot that's in there, but I want to know, what do you guys think? Will the CBP's New Mexico disaster be the straw that finally breaks the camel's back, causing Congress to put something into law that actually has the teeth? Or are we doomed to see more of the same until federal legalization is passed? Is predicted to go down anytime between tomorrow and the mid-2040s. Let's talk about it, team.
Well, I think this is long overdue. I mean, Californians have been getting their cannabis seized from border inspection agents for a long period of time now. I mean, ever since at least legalization that I can count on my fingers and toes. Yeah. And so I don't understand why everyone all of a sudden is all up in arms when it's happening in New Mexico as opposed to happening in California. Right. But nonetheless, I am glad that it is getting some attention, and hopefully we will see some action. But I'm not expecting much from this administration.
I agree with you on that, Jason, in terms of action that maybe we can expect from the administration. But this story is interesting to me. I've traveled through all of those Las Cruces and El Paso checkpoints many times, and I have wondered how they would react to state-level marijuana being transported through that. And, you know, I guess I'm not surprised. It is Border Patrol after all. But I think the real question that we should ask, that it transcends the legal cannabis industry, is why are we okay with CBP having jurisdiction 100 miles inside of our border? That's the question I think we need to answer. Like that's the real overreach.
Well, I don't think that's overreach as far as them having jurisdiction within 100 miles of the border. I don't think that's much of an overreach, because a lot of the times people can get across the border and they may need to have jurisdiction in order to apprehend them.
Yeah, but as a U.S. citizen, I have a right to travel uninfringed between U.S. states. And if I'm a U.S. citizen that's infringing upon that right, then why are we doing that? Why are we allowing that to continue?
I don't think that's necessarily
freedom-loving Republican.
I don't think that's necessarily infringing on that right, but I'm happy to have to go into this discussion a little more in regards on this, because ultimately they have a duty to protect that area, that territory, and make sure there are no foreign invaders or any domestic invaders or anything like that. And so to me, they're just doing their job. And the fact of the matter is it's bad federal policy that cannabis. Just let me finish.
Saying that?
Just let me finish. Just let me finish. Because cannabis is a Schedule 1 drug, so technically they are doing their job because they are enforcing federal law, which they are sworn an oath to uphold. So it's like this. It's just like when people would get arrested. Even when I would get arrested, I would just consider that a occupational hazard.
Yes.
We chose that as our occupation. It's my job to stay away from cops, and it's the cops' job to try to catch me. And so it's just people doing their job.
Bullshit. I think the jurisdiction should not be 100 damn miles inside. Turn it over to state-run agencies, because that's when you run into shit like this, where they can be like, "Hey, I'm just doing my job. Fuck you and your weed."
I wonder, is this the reason why Eazy-E had a song 100 Miles and Running?
Maybe. My question is this: if we really want to solve the question of protecting the border, instead of wasting CBP resources on stopping law-abiding Americans from traveling along interstates, federal interstates, why don't we stack all those people on the actual border itself? Won't that solve the problem that you're asking for?
In my mom's words, that's too much like right for the government to do it that way.
Too much right, huh?
Too much like right.
What?
Is that
Makes
like
too much sense?
interesting?
Debbie's a
It's one
wise
of
woman.
those South Carolina things, I guess.
That's
Georgia.
Georgia.
I only say
Georgia.
that to piss you off.
Oh man, that's classic. That's classic. It looks like Luke's having some issues. What's going on, Luke?
Sohum looks
There
like
you
something.
are, Luke.
Teleport.
Yes. There you
Yeah,
are.
we having a little bit of issues, but
All right.
yeah,
Man.
it is what it is.
Man. You have
What are
any
your thoughts on that, Luke?
Yeah.
Should CBP be allowed to have 100-mile jurisdiction and to interfere with state-run businesses?
No, absolutely not. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Has nothing to do with border security. If you have somebody coming in and they have a cannabis, let's just say this, they have cannabis with them. What does that have to do with border security? Nothing. Now, if they're coming in and bringing in C4 and AK-47s and things to blow up airplanes and things like that, I get it. Yank them. But they're bringing weed? If the only AK-47 they're bringing in is the one that won the 1996 Cannabis Cup, let them go.
All right, so basically what you're saying is that they should only have jurisdiction if it's good weed, because most people consider that the bomb.
Precisely.
Okay.
Jesus.
Just want to make sure we're on the same
Y'all
page here.
still saying that? Y'all still say it's such a Republican thing to say. like we're back in 1996 and AK-47 was.
Yeah, bro. Why are you hating, bro? Why are you hating?
Jeez.
Man, these border rangers, they got a tough job, bro. They got a tough job.
They have the easiest job in the world. All they do is stop random people and ask them, "Are you a U.S. citizen?" And then they let them go. It's literally the most pointless job in the world.
That is definitely not all they do. That is definitely not.
The only more pointless job than that is the guy installing turn signals at the BMW factory in Germany.
Wow. You don't believe in turn signals, huh, Sohum?
I like it.
No, I do. I'm saying that BMW drivers don't believe in using them.
Jason, you used yours too.
I use mine. I use mine. I drive.
Oh, I
BMW.
didn't know that you had a BMW. Honestly, Jason, that wasn't a dig at you. That's
No,
just,
I didn't take it as I did not take that as any dig. I was just making sure that you guys know at least that I'm the outlier, I guess.
I mean, that's good. I'm happy you use your turn signals.
Yeah.
Everybody should use their.
You know.
No, but it is true. Like, BMW drivers do not use turn signals at all.
I don't know. I always see people using their turn signals. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's usually
Driving
it's usually the worst drivers to me are the people that drive like Priuses, Mini Coopers, any of those exorbitantly small cars that just get in the way of everything, and most normal cars could just run them over like a monster truck. Those are the ones that need to get off the road.
Tesla drivers are the new.
Could your car run it over, Jason?
Yeah, I would 100%, bro. My car is a tank.
You got an M6?
No, I have an X5 right now, but it's one of the older models and
Okay.
they still use steel. It's none of that fiberglass bullshit.
I got to actually drive on the Autobahn this week. It was awesome. It was so much
Amazing.
fun.
Did you record a video of that, Sohum?
Did you max out?
I was driving, so I did not. I'll have to ask my my cousin's husband. Might have. We hit a top speed of 222 kilometers an hour.
Amazing.
Like 180, 175,
138 miles an hour.
I've done that on the freeway here and on the 5.
Yeah, I mean, like, I didn't have enough straightaway, but I would have chased it. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. I'm not mad at that. Shout out to Fast Escapes, and on that we are going to make a fast escape, and we're going to go to a commercial, and we're going to be right back.
Oh man, that was weird. Hey, you America. Do I look like Sean Connery? Good morning, America. Saman Razani coming to you live from sunny Los Angeles, California with the one and only highest host, Mr. Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast? You can find it on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. No excuses in 2024. If you haven't checked us out, check it out now. And also, check out what the Prophet's doing in 2024.
Up next.
Oh yeah.
It is the man known for smoking the best weed in the world, the highest Republican in every room that he goes.
Mm-hmm. That's all true.
Today, I just found out he is a big fan of government overreach.
So full of shit. Jesus Christ. The ridiculousness.
That was amazing.
Yeah. It's not overreach when it's within the.
We don't have no golf. We don't have no golf. No nothing today. What's going on? What's going on?
There we go. All right, Rico. Well, let me tell you something. Because Florida medical marijuana patients are outraged over unsolicited email praising Governor DeSantis's. That's right. Florida Department of Health recently sent an email to nearly 700,000 medical marijuana patient list praising Governor Ron Meatball DeSantis, who is opposing a proposal for adult use marijuana use for his achievements. The message, which praised initiatives like a cancer research program prompted by First Lady Casey DeSantis, and highlighted spending on health issues such as HIV, hepatitis, and syphilis, did not mention medical marijuana. Patients and advocates are outraged, claiming the DeSantis administration misused their contact information for political promotion. That is revolting. That is really such a misuse of power and information, said State Representative Kelly Skidmore, the ranking Democrat on the House Health Policy Committee. In a quote, she says, "I guarantee you nobody checked the box that said, yes, it's okay to send me this information on Governor DeSantis' agenda." The Department of Health defended the email, stating it was sent to all individuals in its databases, totaling over 2 million members of the public, healthcare professionals, licenses, and media. Spokeswoman Wessam Kohari criticized the media's focus on the email, arguing it's unfortunate that all has been decided to write a story about the inconvenience of an email rather than covering the key investments that will save countless lives. Advocates argue that the email is more than an inconvenience, it's a privacy violation. Florida's broad public records laws could allow someone to deduce who is a medical patient, and they make up about 35% of the recipients. The exposure could lead to unwanted marketing, political messages, or worse, employment discrimination, they say. Jody James, president of the nonprofit Florida Cannabis Action Network, stated in quotes, "My information should not be part of their general email blast list by any stretch of the imagination." Ironically, Governor DeSantis has been vocal against big tech, accusing companies of misusing personal information, and state Democratic Party Chair Nikki Fried, a former agricultural commissioner, called the action irresponsible. In a quote, she says, "I would have been scorched alive if I had done anything with that database to either release their information to another part of my agency or to have that used in the database for pushing the rest of the news or activities from the Department of Agriculture." A Pensacola medical marijuana patient plans to file a formal complaint stressing the seriousness of the issue, and says if it wasn't for that doctor that wrote out the private patient form link or other agenda, I feel somebody should be held accountable. Personal injury lawyer John Morgan, who led the state's 216 medical marijuana effort, questioned whether the email violated federal laws on the release of medical information, and he also pointed out the potential of political misuse of the email list, especially in the context of promoting adult use marijuana in the upcoming November election. In a quote, he says, "That would be the greatest list they could ever have for this election," Morgan said. Well, I don't think this is such a big deal that everyone's going all up in arms and all this hoopla about, but I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. I'm willing to bet that at least one of you thinks this is a major outcry, but I can't wait to hear. And this is Jason Beck for the High at 9 News Hour. What do y'all think about this email blast?
I mean, from a former medical professional view, I would say from the people whose personal medical information was attached to this, who have recommendations.
I don't believe anyone's personal information was attached to this.
Let me cook.
That's gaslighting.
Let me cook.
Go ahead, cook.
Let me cook.
I'm just adding some seasoning.
It's a list
of truth.
with names on it. And if you can delineate who is a medical patient and who is, not necessarily a true medical patient, then I think that could be an issue. But I also think that I smell maybe a class action lawsuit, because just like every time T-Mobile and any other company has leaked out your personal data, they don't have a right to just spam you with political information just because you're on a list for your own medical benefit to obtain a substance that you need to live your life in a healthy manner. I don't think it's a huge deal. I mean, there are bigger problems, but
I think there's a question that should be asked. Was this sent out by his campaign, or was it sent out by an official government office? I think that's one question.
To me, how it sounds to me, it sounds like the emails that we get here in California from the DCC when they're like, "Hey, we just recalled this product, or we just had this policy update," or anything around that in regards to is my thought.
It sounded like a political email to me. I would just say, I think it's funny how they were first accused of misusing medical patients' emails, and their answer was like, "Oh no, it's okay. We sent it out to 2 million people. It wasn't just you." Like, I don't think that's a very good answer.
I think that's part of the thing, is that they're using the database of people that have signed up for notifications from that department. And that's why there's so many press agents on there.
But are they using it for a departmental purpose, or are they using it for a political campaign? I think that's a very important question.
I think that's all based on your perception.
I kind of tend to agree with some.
No, it's not. No, it's absolutely. It's a black and white issue. It's whether it's being sent from a MailChimp account or whether it's being sent as a part of the public advisory system. Those are two very separate things. Is it being sent from a Ron DeSantis for re-election owned email account or not? Like that. I'm not
buying that it was sent from Ron DeSantis for governor email campaign. I'm not buying anything like that.
Okay. I mean, I'm not buying that it's not. I'm not buying that it is either. At this point, we don't know.
How this all sounds to me, it sounded like they inserted this wording into the government emailer that sends out, that notifies patients about whatever is going on within the Florida program. And to me, I think that I don't really see a big problem with what they did.
Can we find a copy of this email? Is that possible? Has anybody seen it? Because I think that.
Yeah, somebody send it to us if you got it.
Yeah, someone out there in the great free state of Florida, send us over this email so we can take a look at it.
Great free state.
Yeah.
That's rich.
Yes. That's right.
I don't think it really matters. I don't think it really matters, because I think they'll spin it either way. And I think Ron DeSantis is finally putting to good use those dollars that he raised during the presidential campaign. They never got to that have been just like looming, just sitting in a bank account. So big shout out to them for spamming the shit out of people, and I hope they get caught.
I think some of the hemp bros, Rico, need to come out and back Governor DeSantis on this one.
Okay, so I actually found some more information on this, and the email actually praised the cancer research program promoted by First Lady Casey DeSantis.
We mentioned that in the thing.
So, like, if I don't think that's. If we're going to talk about research and things that are being done, if I agreed as a Florida medical patient to get program updates, that's why you have to be so specific when you opt into notifications from things, because you can't just, if I say, yes, Jason Beck, send me what's going on with High at 9 News, and I agree to get those news blasts, and then you send me, by the way, Jason Beck needs $65,000 for XYZ project. That is not what I agreed to be spammed with. So, you know what I mean? Like,
unsubscribe.
I think that's a problem. Unsubscribe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I don't think they asked for any money. I don't think there was any.
Go ahead,
Rico.
Be on the hook for a TCPA violation, Telecommunication Protection Act.
I think that's a stretch, but I mean,
look, maybe nobody needs a compensation for this misuse of their email, but we can agree that it's possible that they misused people's emails to send them information about things that were political in nature or just were not opted into. Like they can both be true.
Fair, not mutually exclusive.
Bleed them dry.
Interesting.
Take them to court.
Yes, interesting. All right.
Make Ronnie spend some lawyers.
Luke, where are you, Luke? Is Luke with us? He's in and out right now. He's like a burger joint.
He unsubscribed.
Whoa. All right.
Good to see your face, by the way, Sohum. It's been a minute. Hope you're well.
You as well, Jenny Beth. It's been well over a minute.
How cute. Speaking of that, Rico, what's that, Rico? You want to introduce Sohum?
I said you're a minority today. How's it feel?
Ooh.
I'm always the minority, bro.
Oh
Only
my
in your
God,
mind.
Jason, you are special. But our next one, with over a decade of regulated technology and data experience under his belt, he is steady on his grind. It's no surprise that's the name of the brand that he's working on, focused on pro athlete focused lifestyle. And here to break us off with a little Jason triggering news, Sohum Shah.
Ooh.
Come on with it.
Yes. And today I am not in Texas. I am visiting our newest legal state or country of Germany. But I'm bringing us some news from my home state of Colorado. Colorado sues business that allegedly marketed marijuana as hemp. Colorado's Attorney General is suing Greeley-based cannabis product retailer G or G, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, GEE Distributors, which does business as CBDDY, I don't know, CB Daddy, as well as owner Christopher Landon Eoff for allegedly selling marijuana marketed as industrial hemp. According to an announcement from AG Phil Weiser's office, the lawsuit filed in Weld County District Court marks the first action against an industrial hemp operator in the state under the Colorado Consumer Protection Act. The lawsuit alleges that some of the products sold by CBDDY contain THC levels 35 times higher than what is allowed in the state's regulated marijuana market. The defendant recklessly sold products that were, in some cases, more potent than what's sold in state licensed dispensaries with little regard for requirements like lab testing and age verification, Phil Weiser said in a news release. State governments have been cracking down on intoxicating hemp-based cannabinoids in recent years. Industrial hemp production was first legalized nationwide by the 2018 U.S. Farm Bill, although lawmakers did not expect the action would give rise to a bustling market for intoxicating hemp-based cannabinoids such as delta-8 THC and THCA. The company's e-commerce site offers THCA flower, concentrates, and vapes, as well as edibles containing delta-9 THC, the psychoactive cannabinoid in regulated marijuana that appears in trace amounts in hemp. Eoff did not immediately respond to MJ Biz for a daily request for comments. Colorado regulators require that industrial hemp companies to have their products tested at one of 12 state certified testing labs, although hemp operators are not required to provide COAs to consumers, according to Weiser's office. Adding to the company's deceptive practices, investigators found that CBDDY forged or altered certificates of analysis to misrepresent its products as legal. The investigation also revealed the company failed to properly verify the age of consumers and made false and illegal claims of health benefits. So that's basically the end of the article. You can read more about it. It was first reported by MJ Biz Daily, so shout out to them, and you can read the lawsuit online as well. This is a topic that we've covered a lot, especially with regard to places like Texas. I know we have some litigation happening there at a state level as well, so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, and I'd love to hear what the rest of the team has to say about it. This is Sohum with High 9 News reporting from Munich, Germany today.
München!
Yes.
München.
Far for New.
Mia San Mia for the Bayern Munich fans out there.
I lived in Munich for 3 years and Augsburg for 2.
Oh, man. love that. I love that. This is one of my favorite places. I've been having a good time. Little aside, since we're talking about it, I went to the Romania-Ukraine match on Monday. That's happening right now here in Germany for the Euros. And as we were walking out of a train station towards the stadium, we see three, 20, 25, 30-year-old kids lighting up something that looked like not a hand-rolled cigarette. So we decided to talk to them a little bit. They broke us off a little bit of their official medical German cannabis, and we got to roll one up real quick while we walked up to the stadium and enjoy the match. So it's been an awesome time so far.
Amazing.
Bridging gaps.
I mean, so it sounds to me like Colorado's trying to clean up their act by regulating on these companies. They're saying no hemp.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I think that Colorado is a great example of I don't think there's that many of those operators. Like, where is the demand for THCA in a system like Colorado has, where access to real weed is so widespread throughout most of the state? Other than maybe a few places where they have moratoriums, I don't understand why there's even a need to crack down on that. But if
because it's cheaper, because it's cheaper and not as inflated taxes on those products. So that's exactly why.
They're cheating. Is that what you're saying, Jason?
When was the last time you were in Colorado?
Man, last time I was in Colorado, I was on a private jet landing at the Aspen airport.
Could y'all hear my eye roll?
I would argue that the only place that the save the children argument would hold any merit is in legalized states, because kids that can't get access to legal weed, you know what? They're either going to the trap or they're going to be smoking this Delta 8.
Yeah, and I don't think them cracking down on it is that serious, but I also don't think, to your point, Jason, if they lowered the taxes on retail cannabis, they would slowly crush all of those other markets that are there, whether it's the illicit market, whether it's the smoke shop market.
I agree with that, and that's one of these reasons that all these municipalities are basically, handicapping the whole cannabis industry by having these erroneous taxes. The same thing that's happening here in California and many other states. It's not like it's not uncommon.
No, absolutely. And in fact, unfortunately, Colorado being the first place where we had high excise tax at the state wholesale level and high retail consumers tax, that was something that was used as a selling point in just about every other adult use bill moving forward. And I think, obviously there have been a lot of missteps when we're talking about the implementation of adult use cannabis, but I think using tax revenue as a selling point was one of the biggest missteps, because I don't think that we should be passing legislation for the purpose strictly of raising taxes on specific products or specific income or whatever it is, right? So there's a multitude of other reasons why we should decriminalize and regulate adult use cannabis, but generating tax revenue should not be one of them.
I agree. I do think that Colorado, though, unlike some other places, has done some very solid things with some of the tax revenue. Like if you look at Pueblo and look at Trinidad and places like that, there's signs everywhere at parks, at all kinds of things that say paid for by the taxes from medical marijuana, which is really cool. It actually gave us a kind of a positive face, but I think we also need to acknowledge how much hemp and how much of CBD products came from Colorado initially. Look, 2016, 17, 18, those years. And a lot of things were pulled out of mother liquors, and a lot of things were converted that probably shouldn't have been.
Did you say mother liquors?
Mother liquor is a part of, it's a piece of,
Just want to make sure.
Part of the extraction extraction equipment. It's kind of where you're separating. There's a lot of things, a lot of cannabinoids that are held in the mother liquor. You can pull them out and formulate with them.
In the mother liquor.
In the mother liquor. We know a lot of mother liquors out there.
We do. Yes.
I'm going to slightly disagree and say that while it shouldn't be the primary selling point, it definitely should be included in the selling package to the public, because what you're telling the public is, instead of, or this is how it should be sold, is instead of us funneling money to cartels and to the illicit market and all these other things, that money now is being taxed, and revenue is going into your schools and into your roads and into your infrastructure. However, cannabis is not the save all for your city. That means you cannot tax us at 40% and expect the business to be able to continue to survive.
Agreed.
That's the whole issue.
I think that's really the point that we're getting at. I agree that you can include it as a selling point, but the problem is that it now becomes, basically a big cash cow, and it incentivizes local jurisdictions to implement exorbitant taxes on a product that does not apply to any other consumer product.
Well, at the start of legalization, though, that's back to that same point, is a lot of these jurisdictions were sold on the fact that it's going to be this big cash cow and they're going to be able to fill all the gaps in all their budgets. And that's how a lot of this was sold to a lot of municipalities in the beginning.
Agreed, and I think that's partially where it went wrong. And it's hard to say, because maybe without that, who knows? We might not have gotten the snowball effect we needed for it to carry momentum into other states. So obviously, hindsight is 20/20, but I think that's something that we can improve upon from a legislative perspective moving forward.
Fantastic. I'm with you. I'm with you on that, Sohum. We're going to keep this train rolling. We're going to roll right into our next commercial, and we're going to be right back.
Get ready for the 2X Monster Truck Live Tour, coming to San Bernardino Nos Orange Event Show Speedway on June 22nd, and in Northern California at Watsonville at the Ocean Speedway on June 29th. Make sure you head over to www.2extremeracingseries.com for all of the tickets for this family fun event.
Feel the sparks coming on the bottom right now? Where the train is?
Oh, yes, and we're back.
Sunday. Come watch.
And roll down that window.
Except it's Saturday.
Yes, it's gonna be lit. It's gonna be lit. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.highat9news.com.
I'm Jason Beck, and this is Smoky Vanilla. And if you want to feel as good as I look, then you need to get a stretch and smoke with Smoky Vanilla.
Hi, I'm Smoky Vanilla. I have my bachelor's degree in kinesiology, and I'm a sports massage therapist and stretch coach. I focus mostly on individuals that are in sport with chronic pain or injury. I love to intuitively create and customize a session based on the individual that I'm working with. We'll go over a few postural assessments, work together to create a wellness journey based on the health history, past injuries, or anything still affecting you today. And we'll get you back on your feet right away with less pain.
We're about to stretch, and then we're gonna smoke, because we're gonna get on our stretch and smoke. If you want to feel as good as I look, then you need to come on down and get a stretch and smoke with none other than Smoky Vanilla.
Oh, yes, and we are back, you guys. Coming up next.
You got it, Luke?
Oh, you want to do it? Go for it.
You got it.
You got it. You got it, Rico. You're the fucking man.
All right, up next. We got him back. He was gone for a little technical difficulties later on, but America cannot silence the dope dad, author, activist, entrepreneur, OG trailblazer, warrior for justice, living proof that real ones do still exist. Coming here, breaking it down for us on the mic as he always does. It's High at 9 News' neighborhood outlaw expert.
Oh,
yeah. Hey, everybody. It's Luke Scarmazzo. coming to you live and direct. And you know it's Wednesday, so we're going to bring you some of that neighborhood outlaw news. And this one right here, well, this one is in a spot that I was in, or spot I was by. Rapides Parish, Louisiana. I suggest not getting caught with weed in Rapides Parish, Louisiana. They don't take kindly to them folks. And here we have a Florida man who was arrested in Rapides Parish for possessing 150 pounds of marijuana, according to Rapides Parish Sheriff's Office. The RPSO said John Michael Grezik, 34, of Orlando, was pulled over on June 13th for a minor traffic violation, which they don't say what the minor traffic violation is. But if we go back to Dale, we know that you don't break two laws at one time. So if you didn't have tags, like this was always the episode on cops that always got me when I was younger. You would see the cat with 150 packs in his trunk, but his registration was expired. It's like, bruh, come on, man. You got 150 bows in the back of a car and you can't pay $150 to get your registration renewed in the car you're transporting in? Whoa. But anyhow, so John didn't have a good day either, man. With the use of the canine, 150 pounds of high-grade marijuana. They must have been from Cali Buds. That's the only boy I know still talking about that high grade.
Oh boy.
Were discovered in the back of his truck. Its value was determined to be approximately, drum roll please.
Oh yes, here we go.
$679,000. This man had nearly $750,000 worth of weed in his Honda Civic.
Hey.
They should have gave him $1 million valuation.
They
That's
doubled the
fucked up.
value of that Civic.
They messed up.
I feel like they should have gave him a little bit more of a valuation there, but you know, it's Louisiana. It's rough down there right now, man. It's rough. Gezik was placed under arrest without incident. He went quietly, booked into the Rapid Parish Detention Center, which is kind of like a prison. The parish is down there like it's not like your county jail system in California. Mm-hmm. So he's having a rough one. He's having a rough one, old Johnny boy. Detention center for following too close. I guess it wasn't registration this time. He was pulled over for following too close. So I want to make that caveat. John had his registration paid. He was just apparently tailgating somebody on the freeway. An open container, so he was drinking. But listen, I know that sounds crazy too. I know it sounds crazy to be drinking and driving and moving all them packs. But down in the South, like they got drive-through daiquiri spots. So it's like, it's cool. Like drinking and driving is not something that's like totally crazy like it is out here in the West Coast. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying that's what it is.
But with 150 packs.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying?
All in a day's work.
Tipsy if you got to be able to, calm down a little bit, I guess, taking the edge off.
Shout out to Justin Timberlake. Shout out to Justin Timberlake with his DWI this weekend.
Maybe he had to pee. Maybe that's why he was getting.
Yeah, and Justin Timberlake is like the only guy I've seen featured on Mugshot Shorties.
Oh man,
right.
I can fix him.
Can we add Darius Rucker and remind him what normal people go through when they get caught with drugs in the South?
Right. We need that tag. Maybe we should tag Darius on this. John was released, fortunately, one day before Father's Day, so perhaps John was a dad and got to be out, spend time with his children, hopefully, on $150,200. They had to throw the $200 in their bond. And so it looks like, if he had to put out 10%, he put out like 15 bandos to get out.
I figure, what did they count out how much cash he had on him and we're like, make it just a little bit higher than that?
Right. How much he got? You got 16,000? Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my neighborhood outlaw news coming to you live from Louisiana, the dirty, dirty South. Shout out to Rapides Parish and some of my partners that are out there. Shout out to Pineville and shout out to Pollock. I'm going to show back out and talk to all my people out there. Louisiana in the house. but not really for a good thing. Johnny, we're glad you're home, but this is the type of things that is still happening in America. People are still being pulled over. I know in California and in these cool states that we have these medical laws and these recreational laws. This doesn't happen too often. In the South, it is very real still. You get pulled over, you have weed, you go to jail. Oftentimes, if you have a record or priors, you go to prison. This is a real thing. We need to stop it. This is Luke Scarmazzo coming to you for the High at 9 News. I'm going to kick it back to my fellow correspondents. What do you guys think about Louisiana Johnny Boy in the old Rapides Parish?
You know, you guys.
I'm pleasantly surprised they didn't try and claim it was.
Go ahead, Sohum.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, I'm pleasantly surprised they didn't try to say it was $679 million in street value of marijuana, because honestly, I thought that's what you were about to say when you led with that number.
Literally.
Yeah, they should have gave him at least $1 million valuation. I think I think they cut themselves as part of their budget right there.
Well, you know, prices are going down. Prices are going down. You gotta wait.
Oh, maybe it was just all outdoor weed.
Yeah, he was rolling around with some myth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If it were Donald Trump, he would have got. If it were Donald Trump, he would have got them to round up, right, Jason?
He should have just told. He should. I see where you're trying to go there, Rico. I'm not taking that bait. He should just told them that it's THCA.
I mean, like, I hate to see, you know, I always root for the bad guy. I hate to see anybody go to jail for weed, but, like, let's also acknowledge, as a girl from the South, they prefer, like, yes, maybe you can drive through and get it through the drive-through liquor store, but they prefer you not drink it till you get home. So, like, there were a couple other reasons this guy probably would have gotten arrested when he got pulled over, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like the bong water girl. Yeah, she got pulled over and in trouble for bong water, but she went to jail because she had meth.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know what I mean? It's, like, not necessarily, like, you were also breaking quite a few other laws.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that it's, you know, drinking and driving is definitely something that we don't encourage. I don't encourage. It's dangerous.
You know what I think is probably the most important question to ask in regards with this is if after he made the sale or dumped some of this, what did he plan on paying his registration?
His registration was good.
He had was good. I was using that old Pops example. He was following too closely is why he initially got pulled over.
So his tags were good.
His tags were good.
Yes, his tags were good. He was following too closely was the traffic violation. But the cool thing is, he got the plug, John, because according to my numbers, his pounds were going for $4,500. I haven't seen pounds go for $4,500 since like 2004.
Maybe he had that free package.
Well, I mean, you're in Louisiana, bro. You can get $4,500 a pound out there.
Yes, you can easily.
For fire.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
100%.
Every day, twice
all
on
day.
Sunday.
All day.
Hey.
No problem.
I don't know how we know that, but
I ain't gonna act like
wizardry.
I just happen to know the markets, bro.
Might have been worth a little more if he was on his way to Alabama.
Oh boy, he was about to cash out. But not.
He might not even got in trouble if he called up his mother liquor.
Oh, jeez Louise. On that, we're going to roll right into our final commercial, and we're going to be right back.
The Control Tower from Highly Educated has perfected the dab. Utilizing the concept of thin film evaporation, you can waste none of it and taste all of it. The micro texture of the SE pillar increases nucleation at elevated temperatures. And with the tower propelling at 2,600 RPMs, it's certainly the most efficient dab experience to date. The Control Tower from Highly Educated.
That's what I'm saying. Well, we're going to have to cover it tomorrow now.
We're back.
Anyways.
Up next, and backed by popular demand, whether it's to keep Jason Beck in check or due to her vibrant personality.
No, you're wrong.
But we are.
You're totally wrong,
But
Rico.
we are enjoying the ratings. So I'm glad she's back.
Rico, you're totally wrong.
Rico, cannabis.
Rico, can you not? You're totally wrong right now. I'm about to read my second story.
We're going to let a black woman have the last word today. I'm going last.
Yeah.
So practice that.
Okay.
There we go.
We got reverse reparations. Go first, white man.
Look at that. See, look at that. All right, you guys, here we go. Because you're going to love this. An Iowa-based beverage companies sue the state over new THC limits. That's right. 2 Iowa companies are suing the state over its interpretation of a new law that restricts THC levels in adult beverages. Climbing Kites, a Polk County beverage manufacturer, and Field Day Brewing Co., the Johnson County producer of the Daydreamer line of cannabis sparkling water, are suing the Iowa Department of Health and Human Services in U.S. District Court. The lawsuit has its roots in the state legislature's passage of the Iowa Hemp Act of 2019. That law, along with the 2018 Farm Bill passed by Congress, excluded hemp from the state and federal definitions of marijuana, effectively legalizing hemp production across the nation and in Iowa. The state law not only cleared the way for the production of hemp in Iowa, but also contemplated the production and sale of hemp-based consumables within the state. In 2020, a second hemp bill was approved by state lawmakers, establishing a consumable hemp program and approving the production of consumables with a maximum THC concentration of 0.3% or less, the same threshold established in federal law. In 2023, 2 separate groups of investors launched Climbing Kites in Des Moines and Field Day in North Liberty, and the 2 companies soon began producing canned beverages that contained carbonated water, citric acid, natural flavors, and hemp-derived cannabis oil. The law limiting the level of THC, which is the primary psychoactive element of cannabis, in such products wasn't an issue for either company, whose products contain THC in the range of 0.001% to 0.003%, far less than the legal maximum of 0.03%. In 2024, state lawmakers began considering legislation to further restrict the potency of hemp consumables, and despite opposition from the consumable hemp advocates, the Epilepsy Foundation of Iowa, and others, House File 2605 ultimately passed both chambers and was signed into law by Governor on May 17th. The new law stipulates that THC or THC concentration in a consumable must be less than or equal to 0.3% of dry weight basis, or equal to less than 4 milligrams per serving. With the new law scheduled to take effect on July 1st, DHHS recently issued written guidance for current manufacturers and retail sellers to follow. According to that guidance, DHHS intends to implement potency limits by altering the definition of a serving to 1 12-ounce can, which when combined with the new statutes of limitations means a can of Climbing Kites or Daydreamers cannot include more than 4 milligrams of THC. According to that lawsuit, that limits and conflicts with the statute that says the consumables may contain up to 10 milligrams of THC per container. The result, the 2 companies claim, is that the department will criminalize all of their beverage containers smaller than 12 fluid ounces once the new law takes effect on July 1st. They argue that approximately 80% of their current inventory will become illegal because DHHS's interpretation of the potency limits, and they say products that account for approximately 85% of the plaintiff's revenue will become illegal because of the department's interpretation, the lawsuit claims. The lawsuit alleges that the state is violating the supremacy clause of the U.S. Constitution, noting that the Federal Drug Administration has the power to oversee food and safety, and the companies are seeking an immediate injunction preventing DHHS from enforcing the new limits, as well as an order declaring that a state-imposed potency limit of 4 milligrams per serving violates the Constitution, and that DHHS has no authority to interpret the provisions of House File 2605 in any manner beyond the plain language of the statute. The state, which says it does not comment on pending litigation, has yet to file a response, you guys. Man, all this fight over beverages, and we know that beverages ain't really doing all that, but this is just more hype for the beverage market. But I do like the merits of what they're saying in regards to this case, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this, Rico.
You know what I gotta say, Jason? All this hate towards this THC beverages, it's kind of coming to a head, and more and more people talk about it. More and more people hate. The more it's gonna thrive.
Guess what? The more people talk about it, it's not transacting into sales.
The demand is there.
It's the fastest growing sector of the market because it's the smallest.
Yeah,
it keeps on growing.
Right.
Again, we don't use data, but I mean that's What do you think about?
It's a grower, not a shower, Jason. It's a grower, not a shower, Jason.
It's the fastest growing sector of the market because when you only sell 10 cans a month, if you sell one more can, it looks super good, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's the smallest. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So, but the thing is, it's really interesting is with the beverage situation, I think it's all accessibility. The minute that these beverages go from dispensary shelves to Sam's Clubs and bars,
you're right.
You will have a completely different situation going on with it.
You are totally
and I
right.
really welcome it because it will shift people off of alcohol and the negative nature that comes behind it and the consequences and the collateral things that all come with alcohol. And it'll shift people onto a cannabis drink that they're not going to go home and do crazy things or drive crazy or do, you know what I'm saying? In theory, I know some people can't handle it. This isn't like a blanket statement, but my point is it'll shift people off of the dangerousness of alcohol and onto cannabis, and that's what's really scary to the alcohol industry. That's why they fight.
Crazy? You know what's gonna be crazy? Is the college parties. Can you imagine playing beer pong with some cans?
So let me tell you. Let me tell you guys.
These college parties would be.
Let me tell you what's really happening.
How many milligrams are in a keg?
Oh boy. Let me tell you guys.
I think we need to shift the conversation. It's this case. This story isn't about the merits of whether cannabis beverages are a good product or a viable market segment or not. This is a classic case of fuck around and find out for the government of Iowa, because if they had a robust medical or adult use system here, this case wouldn't have the merit standing that it has, hiding behind the supremacy clause of a constitution, because they would have a state regulated system that would supersede that in the first place.
I agree with that assessment right there, most definitely.
Spot on.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, with these beverages, man, these guys, what's really happening right now in California, and is also happening across the country in a lot of backdoor conference meetings and whatnot. But a lot of the liquor beverage distribution companies are lobbying the states for them to be able to sell all of these products throughout anywhere that you purchase their products, which is exactly what you guys were explaining earlier. And I know that I know
that's what's happening in Minnesota right now too, right?
Exactly. Minnesota is the perfect example of that. I know Southern Wine and Spirits is currently lobbying for this, and I know a number of bars that are already carrying hemp beverages already as alternatives to alcohol. So this is already happening.
You can go to a bar and get a Delta 9 cocktail in bars in Austin.
Yeah.
And you know where this is not happening? States where they have well implemented, or as well as possible implemented.
I mean, it's happening here in you can't say that because it's happening here in California. It's happening everywhere. I don't think you can say that. You can compare the regulated with that.
I mean, I don't know. At least Colorado, I've never seen in Denver anywhere where you can go and get a Delta 9 drink at a bar.
I didn't say Delta 9.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in California either.
But that's what you can get.
Next time you're down here,
Minnesota.
Next time you're down here, Luke, I'll go in and I'll show you. You'll be like, holy shit.
Let's do it.
Yep. 100.
I mean, I can't even consume hemp, but I'll go in and watch you consume.
Well, I didn't even say I was going to consume it. I was just going to show you that it's on the shelf and people are consuming it.
Oh no, we got to go in and you got to drink it. We got.
We don't believe that people are
crap.
consuming it until we watch you consume it, Jason.
I'm not drinking none of that shit, bro. No way. We're gonna need some super chats if you guys want to see something like that.
Super anti-drink.
Not a chance.
It ain't regulated.
Yeah,
it ain't regulated.
I'm not drinking that liquid disty. I'd rather just have water. That's what's in 99% of the can anyway.
Hot dog water, baby.
Liquid death. You'd rather have liquid death than liquid disty, ain't that right, Jason?
I mean, liquid death is quality water. Let's not.
Liquid death is good water. It is good water. Cursed or not.
That's what I'm saying.
Cursed or not.
Come on now. I was giving him a shout out.
Mm-hmm.
Hydrate the world, man.
Mm-hmm.
Liquid death if you're like a.
My favorite one. My favorite one is ape water. You guys, have you guys tried ape water yet?
Jason.
Ape water.
It would be, Jason.
Shut up.
It sounds very, very suspect.
No, check this out. Ape water. This is a real product. This is a real product. Real product, bro. I'm not fucking gaslighting you, bro. Ape water.
Yeah.
They got the
Sounds like
QR codes.
When did that come out?
Hold on,
we talk about that tomorrow.
And hold on, and they do collabs with companies so you can put your own logos and shit like this on the cans.
Is Ape Water paying us right now? Because if not, they definitely should be.
Right.
I agree with you.
Because I was going to say the only water that I usually drink is tap water.
Look at that. Look at that.
Man.
Speaking of that, Rico, I think it's time to tap in with Jenny Beth.
I think it's so, because closing us out today, thanks to High at 9 News' new DEI czar's recommendation.
You're so funny.
The well-known and respected cannabis executive, the mind behind Kind Cannabis Consulting and Justice Serve 501c3, a melanated boss lady with deep Southern roots, Jenny Beth Dills. Yeah.
Thank you, Rico. I'm
Happy
just gonna have
JuneTeenth,
Rico
Jenny Beth.
introduce me for everything I do for the rest of my life. I appreciate that.
I bet.
So,
I'll
okay,
do that, man. Just
going
break
along with
me
my
up a
theme
little
of what I
weed and I'll be
usually
good.
talk about and going along with things, the racial inequities behind cannabis prohibition and the teleprompter that is getting its life together. A tiny crumb of cannabis impacted his life, and he finally has a clearer future. For years, a few crumbs of cannabis played an outsized role in shaping Shiloh Jordan's life. With a stroke of a pen by Maryland Governor Wes Moore, Jordan looks forward to that being in the past for him, as well as tens of thousands of other Marylanders who have been pardoned for misdemeanor marijuana convictions. I just feel like this is a big opportunity for people, to not let struggles get in their way, Jordan, 32, said in an interview with the Associated Press on Tuesday, a day after he watched the governor sign an executive order for the sweeping pardon of more than 175,000 convictions. Jordan was in his early 20s when he was pulled over in Howard County, Maryland, for not wearing a seatbelt on his way home from work as a custodian at a nursing home. The officer said she smelled marijuana, I bet she did, and using a piece of tape, she found cannabis crumbs on the floor of the vehicle. Jordan said she was just like, "Yep, you're going to jail." Jordan recalled of the incident from about a dozen years ago. I'm like, what, are you serious? I would probably have reacted the same way. But that was the law back then. So she took me to jail and locked me up, Jordan said. He said he didn't think much of the minor charge until his second day at a new job, when he was let go because a background check had uncovered his misdemeanor. It was disheartening, and it made him think about the myriad challenges facing young people growing up in poverty, all the things that so often stand in the way of them staying on the straight and narrow. Jordan said, I felt defeated. I was just trying to, do the right thing. He ended up participating in a job readiness program and later going back to school and playing football in college. He now works as an outreach coordinator at the Center for Urban Families in Baltimore, a nonprofit that is focused on helping families pull themselves out of poverty. The governor's actions this week come after President Joe Biden's administration announced earlier this year that it will take a historic step towards easing federal restrictions on cannabis, reclassifying the drug. Recreational cannabis was legalized in Maryland in 2023 after voters approved a constitutional amendment in 2022 with 60% of the vote. Maryland decriminalized possession of personal use amounts of cannabis on January 1, 2023. Now 24 states and the District of Columbia have legalized recreational marijuana. This is about changing how both government and society view those who have been walled off from opportunity because of broken, uneven policies, Moore, a Democrat, said during Monday's announcement. I don't know why it matters that he's a Democrat. The governor's
gaslighting.
Gaslighting. The governor's pardon absolves an individual from guilt of criminal offense, but it is not an expungement that destroys the record of the offense. The Maryland judiciary will instead make a note that the offense has been pardoned, leaving it to remain on the record. People who have been pardoned can seek expungement in court. Jordan said he's unfamiliar with the expungement process, but plans to look into it. On Monday, hours after Moore signed an executive order granting the pardons, the clerk of the court for Baltimore said the office was committed to providing all necessary assistance for expunging the charges from people's records, which is huge. That's going to be a game changer for everyone. In a statement, Xavier Conway, the clerk of the circuit court for Baltimore City, said the governor's action acknowledges the importance of the fair administration of justice in removing educational, housing, and employment barriers that have long disproportionately affected the lives of many Baltimoreans, especially those that are black and brown. Maryland's largest city had the state's highest number of pardons, 39,865, or about 23% of the total number. Our office is committed and ready to provide all necessary assistance to ensure that the pardoned individuals in Baltimore City can navigate the expungement process smoothly and efficiently, Conway said. I hope that's code for we're going to push through. But I'm really excited to see this. I think that this is an example, a shining example of how these simple possession pardons are helpful. Obviously, it's not an expungement. That needs to go with it. But, you know, this guy wasn't doing anything wrong. He was headed home from work. He was not high. He was not selling anything. He wasn't making money. He didn't have guns. He was tired and forgot to put his seatbelt on. And they literally took a piece of Scotch tape and went through this man's floorboard. Who even knows whose weed that was? And then it ruined his life. And I think that it's a beautiful story that this man was able to go on and continue the work that he loved. When he was released from a job because of this misdemeanor conviction, where he was just trying to help people, trying to keep people from falling into a cycle of imprisonment, of poverty, that he was finally able to see some justice there. And I would love to hear what you guys think. I think this is an excellent example of the change. And obviously, you know, we didn't release anybody federally because no one's in the feds for simple possession. But I think this is a great positive impact story.
This tape, the tail of the tape, man, that is harsh way. And like, man, my mind is blown by that right now, you guys. The tape.
Well, I would say
speckles.
100% the evidence was going to stick.
I see what you did there, Luke. That was very catchy. Very,
well played.
Catchy, yes.
Can we go back to what you guys were saying about why they mentioned that person was a Democrat? Because I think that's just standard AP style for when you mention politics.
I know. I just hate pulling bipartisanship into everything. Can't we have one good win for?
Yeah, but it's not gaslighting. They do that for every politician. You both said that it was gaslighting. It's not gaslighting anything.
I
That's just
disagree with Jason.
how you describe a politician.
Just saying.
Jason confuses gassing up with gaslighting.
So you're not going to win an argument with two. You're not going to win an argument with two Republicans when you're putting out facts.
Hey, no gassing up, Rico. No gassing up, Rico.
I want to touch real quick. I want to touch on what Governor Wes Moore did. Now, we do need to applaud him because he did make progress. He did sign 175,000 pardons.
100%.
It did impact some people, and I read, and I don't know if this is true, maybe we can look into this later. I read that it did extend to people who had sales, which is more than what Biden did. So if he did that, again, I applaud him. The caveat I want to add into this, though, is that they keep presenting this as if these actions will now enable people to get home loans and welfare and housing and jobs. Misdemeanor convictions do not disqualify you from any of those. It does not ask you on a job application, have you ever been convicted of a misdemeanor? It says, have you ever been convicted of a felony?
Some job applications do.
Which they have since banned in many states. So my point is that this presentation that this makes a severe impact on somebody's life is just not true, because a misdemeanor cannabis conviction does not bar you from any of those things. A felony cannabis conviction does. So I would implore Governor Wes Moore and the Biden administration to continue this progress and please pardon the people who have felony convictions. It'll be more impactful. These people will have their rights restored. And then we can push them into the courts because they are right. Too many people think that pardons equal expungements, and they do not.
No, 100%.
That still exists on your record.
I think the important part of this story is this is a young black man who was literally doing nothing wrong except for not being buckled up, and it did impact his life. He was working at an impact center, and on his second day, he was dismissed because this came up in a background check. And this is a man who was trying to help people out of poverty. So I think it's a very, yes,
you got that job afterwards.
You got that job afterwards. It's a very small impact on the world, but I think that this is a very good story as a keynote to point to sometimes people who get cannabis charges aren't doing anything wrong. And sometimes this is definitely the case very often, just like with this man, he was profiled. This is a black man who was arrested for a small crumb of cannabis, charged for it, and then later released from positions. And there are jobs that will say, have you ever been convicted of a misdemeanor or a felony, especially in the medical profession, especially in the nonprofit sector, especially in the government sector. So it does make a difference. I agree with you, Luke, that we are not doing enough, and this is not far enough, and this is just a toe in the ocean of bullshit that we have to swim through. But today for Juneteenth.
Metaphor.
I'm very excited
I like
for this young black man who is having portions of his life restored, and I'm very excited, and I hope to see the Maryland government follow through with what they've promised this man in the expungement as well, going along with his pardon.
Well said.
Mm-hmm.
And big shout out. I got to give it to Governor Wes Moore. He's been doing his thing. It's hard to ignore the fact that it is a black governor doing the damn thing. And since he came into office, he led by being pro-cannabis and wanting to help out the past injustices or move past the past injustices that have been levied disproportionately on black communities. So big shout out to him and the efforts that they're going through.
And in regards with all this, I do want to thank the governor for this work. I do appreciate these types of actions.
Absolutely,
100%.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of the criminal justice, social justice advocacy groups out there that are hailing this as the biggest pardon or biggest criminal justice reform that has happened within any in particular state or federal government. Do you guys think that's true or not?
I mean, the Biden administration, we don't know what really happened with their thing. Like, they keep saying it was, 7,000, 6,000, tens of thousands. We don't know who was affected. They brought 3 people to the White House, I saw.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know what the real numbers are coming out of the White House.
I would argue
on face value, 175,000. If the number is anywhere near there, by far this is the most historic and most impactful ever.
I love the fact that they're pardons and they're not expungements. You know what I'm saying? Like they're actual pardons, and he's putting forth the automatic expungements for them too.
Yeah, that's dope.
A lot of the other states, they'll say like, yeah, we're gonna be have mass expungements or automatic expungements. Then we hear like months later that nobody was really expunged, or there's like, oh well, we found like here in LA, we found 150,000 more that were on paper that we did not account for. So I think that by leading,
I would argue that at a local level, and a district attorney or a county attorney that makes a decision to stop low-level prosecution of possession and other cannabis-related offenses is actually having more of an impact and doing it proactively. So places like, shout out to like Dallas and Harris County in Texas, and I'm sure outside of Texas there are a lot of places that are doing that, but places where the prosecutor is using their discretion to, first of all, stop prosecution.
I got to interject, bro. On the one day that we're not giving Texas any shout-outs, it's on Juneteenth, bro.
Okay,
Texas
that's fair. That's fair.
No shout-outs on this show on Juneteenth.
I'll give you that.
Except Galveston, man, because they were the first Juneteenth.
Yeah, I was gonna say it all started there.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll give you that. And that's near Harris County. That's Houston. So I was getting there.
H-Time, when they swang it.
That's right. In the house.
Yeah, shout out for a little bit of a change, a little bit of progress. Better than nothing. Not great. Still shitty. Yeah. Better than nothing.
Yeah. Yes, I thought that was a great positive note to end on today. Thank you for covering that, Jenny Beth, and thank you for keeping Jason in check, being the yin to the yang.
You're so
in
silly.
This thing today.
Check his ass.
And showing America,
some dreamers,
the diversity that we have on our team, and I'm not talking about just the colors. I'm talking about black Republicans. we got black Republicans on squad with us that are not caricatures of the race.
That's
yes,
right.
I said it.
Right.
Not out there.
No Tim Scott's in the house.
Hey, I didn't say that.
I fuck with Tim Scott, bro.
But thank you all. Thank you all for tuning in for this special Juneteenth episode of High at 9 News. You can catch us live weekdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to our super fans getting their comments posted live on the big screen, and also our live audience members and online supporters tuning in and giving us feedback on the daily headlines of chaos, also known as the developing cannabis industry. Our vetted correspondent team tuning in from all over, bringing us much needed variety of perspective, your respected opinions to the table. Our production team, Millie and Adam, back there doing their thing behind the scenes, keeping our AV struggles in check. Finally, Cannabis Sativa L, the reason that the High at 9 news team shows up to read these headlines every single day. Thank you too, baby girl. It has been June 19th, 2024. Show's over. You've all been blessed with the top industry headlines. Hope it's enough for you to put in your pipe and smoke at least until tomorrow. Go out today and support Black businesses if you can, man. Find out some shit about JuneTeenth and bring that to the table, because it has been poorly communicated to the country since it was implemented. Right. So yeah, just learn about the holiday, why it should be a holiday, and to support your melanated peers.
And if you're confused
today, yeah. I want to give it to Sohum today, man. Sohum, you gonna take us out, my brother?
Yeah, for sure.
He's the closest one to Galveston. Oh no, he's not. You're in Germany today.
He's in Germany.
Yeah, I'm in Germany today.
Your hometown.
Why don't you take? You can take that back if you want.
No, we're good. You got it today.
Okay. Well, yeah, happy Juneteenth first and foremost. I hope everybody enjoys this federal holiday. It takes a moment to understand and appreciate why it is a federal holiday. And beyond that, since I'm in Germany, I'm going to say I hope you get to catch some football, some European championships, some Copa America, something. Go have a beer or one of Jason's favorite Disty Juice cannabis beverages.
Ouch.
But either way, enjoy your day, and we're out.
Yeah.